Morning, everyone. Day 3 of Holy Week. I'm in the garden again. It's a beautiful, sunny, crisp morning, and I've been picturing Jesus waking up on the Mount of Olives, where he was camped up, and much, much earlier than I have risen this morning. I think Jesus would have been straight in teaching. The scriptures say early in the morning, all the people came to him in the temple courts to hear what he was saying. I think at this point everything was kind of ramping up. The teaching gets quite heavy, and Jesus is he's creating a big stir. Basically, it's going to be 2 days' time that he's going to be put on trial, and so he's, especially the teachers of the law and the scribes, he really does slam them, really goes at them. The religious order, he's kind of looking to, I suppose, to overturn the understanding that people have. He knows that people are trying to trap him in order to kind of go back to the chief priests and say that he's been blaspheming and speaking as though he's God and with an authority of God, which obviously is true to who he is, but at this point is highly controversial. And he speaks of what is to come, so prophesying about the end times, about persecution, and it doesn't exactly make for light reading, but there are some absolute gems in the scriptures, and I think for me one of the highlights is Jesus has been talking, almost a mic drop moment where he sort of says, the scribes who are trying to trap him, he just goes, watch out for the scribes. They have all this pretense, and they pretend to pray long prayers and do lots of good things, but actually they're the first people to, I think the scriptures that I'm reading say to devour widows. I don't quite know what that means, but having made this reference to how the scribes treat the widows, he then looks up from where he sat and sees a widow who's putting an offering into the offering area. I don't know whether it was like a pot or whatever, but he sees the rich folk giving a lot of money, and then conversely this poor widow who only gives 2 copper coins, but he says, this widow has done well, because it's out of her poverty that she has given. She's given an enormous amount, and it's both incredible, this, but also super challenging, because I guess the Jewish people were used to having customs and laws and being told this is the way that you need to live, this is what you need to do to be righteous, and this is just a good example of Jesus saying, it's not about the circumstance, it's not about the amount, it's not about the practicalities, actually it's about the attitude of your heart. This widow giving out of her poverty, although it's not materially much to give, she has faith, and she has faith to see what Jesus is doing, and it's that kind of heart, the heart that's really after God, the worshipful heart, the thankful heart, the heart that sees the riches in the kingdom of God as much greater than the riches of the world. It's that kind of heart that Jesus is after. So it's a really beautiful picture that we get in an otherwise very heavy sequence of teaching. I think I'm going to leave it there, but interesting point in the week. I think there's this sense that the teaching is getting powerful, I think almost because Jesus wanted to create a bit of a stir. He knows that he ultimately is going to be put on trial and cause trouble in the eyes of the authorities, and therefore at this point is definitely scaling up the things that he's going after and the words that he's using. Thanks guys, hope you have a great rest of the day. Lots of love.